Welcome to Happily Ever After, the podcast where we dive into life's big stories. Everything from breakups and breakdowns to buried secrets and triumphant happy endings. It's the stuff that makes us human. I'm your host, Hannah Harvey, author of How to Divorce Sober. I'm a mentor, award-winning blogger, yoga instructor, and in a past life, a fully qualified civil engineer. You can find me at hannahharvey.uk or on Instagram at hannahharveyuk. I absolutely love to hear from you, so please get in touch with your stories, thoughts, or questions. But for now, get cozy, settle in, and let's dive into your next chapter of Happily Ever After. Hello and welcome to Happily Ever After. It's me, Hannah. And today I want to talk about building your support network and how this can be from just around the corner, but it can also be from the other side of the world. And so I bring it to you from my kitchen. I meant to do this hours and hours ago, but my dad turned up to help me in the garden, which is so lovely. But, it's nearly 3:00. He's not left. So there's a chance he's going to just come in at any moment. But I'm just going to crack on. So before I get to the support network stuff, I wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who took part in last week's Love Note Reset, which was like a 7-day meditation challenge that I did over on my Love Notes membership. So if you're not sure what that is, it is basically my newsletter. It's where I host my newsletter, but you can also join the membership side of it, and with that you get a fortnightly live meditation with me. I was about to start speaking French, which I can't speak, so that's weird. With me, and we'll meet on a Monday night every other Monday and basically do a little 30-minute meditation around a subject that feels congruent at that moment. And then the other thing that you get is every month I run this Love Notes Reset, which is like a 7-day meditation challenge. And so this was the first ever one. Basically, in response to my survey that I sent out, it was very clear that everyone was feeling like they need a little bit of calm in our lives, which totally relate to. It doesn't seem to matter how much of this stuff that you do, it doesn't change that life is going to come up and things are going to trigger us all the time, but it's how we deal with it, which I guess is where the tools come in. And meditation for me, as you'll know from last week, is a huge part of my toolkit and something I use as much as I can, sometimes more than once a day. And it just makes me feel like a better person, more connected with what I'm trying to do. So because it was the first one, I wanted to make sure that I shared it with everybody and everyone can have a go at seeing what it's like. So you can access this for free, and it's not too late. It's just always going to be there. So if you decide you want to become a Love Note member, there's like a meditation library with all of the previous meditations on there. And then you'll also get a link to any of the resets that we do. So for this one, if you want to give it a try, you just go to hannahharveyuk.substack.com/Valentine's, and then that gives you free access to the membership for a whole month. So you can give the reset a try, and then if you want to try any of the other live meditations, you can. And then obviously there'll be 2 live meditations during the month of your trial. So help yourself to that. Even if you're listening to this in a year's time, that /Valentine's code will still work. So you are welcome to use that and let me know how you get on. So how was your Valentine's? I hope that you spoiled yourself rotten first and foremost, and then also your loved ones. I totally forgot in the morning. I'd bought these lush little plates and little bits and bobs for my kids. Completely forgot, and then they went off to school, and as they were leaving I'm like, oh, happy Valentine's. But I don't know, is it weird to do it for your kids anyway? Like, I had friends whose parents would send them a little card, and I was like, okay, we never did that. So I just don't do it now. Always forget. But anyway, my boyfriend Dan turned up with some lovely things, and we went for lunch, and that was great. And then he turned into my delivery man because I'd got gifts for all of the people doing my Venus yoga. So Venus yoga is like a 6-week yoga course that you can do online or in person. And to kind of mark the end of the 6 weeks, I always do like an extra special class to kind of wrap it all up. And everyone gets a little prezzy and that kind of thing. So the people who come online, who were local, I was like, oh, here you go, Dan. Go and deliver those to the people across the northeast. So he did that for me, which was nice. And yeah, in the evening we had just a gorgeous class. And yeah, it was just really, really lovely to finish it off like that. I had like petals everywhere and beautiful flowers. The ones that Dan gave me, obviously. So yeah, really beautiful. And it's a bit of a loose end now because I don't have yoga for 3 whole weeks until the next block starts. It's just the way it's worked out with the venue and timings of half term and all that stuff. So the next block starts on the 14th of March. And oh my God, I'm so excited for spring. Like, this whole 6-week block is going to be around spring and sowing seeds and just working on being ready to show up in the world again. So I'm really excited to get into that. And if you want to be involved, because you can come online, you can come in person, or do a mix of the two, just head on over to hannahharvey.uk and there'll be details there for how to join. But oh yeah, so excited to get into all of this spring stuff. Oh, and then the other thing that, gosh, it's been quite a week, I tell you. Because it was my boyfriend's birthday on Tuesday, I took him on a little holiday. It was like a surprise weekend. I hadn't told him what we were doing. But what we actually did was go into Newcastle, which is our city. I'd found a little Airbnb, so not one of the usual hotels, kind of hidden up a back street in basically what felt like a Dickensian bit of, you know, the country. And as you go higher up, you can see up onto the rooftops all around the Tyne Bridge. So it really does feel like you've stepped back in time. So that was really cool. And then we spent a bit of time in the Ousburn, which has changed loads since I used to go drinking down there. And yeah, the next day we were along the Quayside Market and went to the Baltic, and then we went to the Sage in the evening for a Mobo Fringe event, which just made me feel completely rock and roll. Like, we were seeing brand new artists from the Northeast at the Sage, and it was just a bit mind-blowing, really, like all this amazing talent coming out of the Northeast that I knew absolutely nothing about. So yeah, that was awesome. Came home with a t-shirt. Who were they? Yeah, the Nats, they were called. This like 5-piece jazz band. Oh, it was just brilliant. Really had a lovely time. And then came home and was very ill for like 3 days because I'd been living off Lemsip. So yeah, that's my update. If you want to come to Newcastle and you want some tips, you know, get in touch with me. And also, if you know of lots of cool things going on, then also please tell me, because I feel like I've been under a rock for the last 10 years and I'm just emerging and finding out that my city is really cool and there's loads of fun things going on. So let me know. Right, so on to the subject for today, this whole idea of, the network, like I was going to say in times of crisis, but like it doesn't even need to be crisis, but who are your people that you turn to when you need help? Because it tends to be when we're in crisis that we suddenly go, oh shit, I don't know who to turn to. Like, I remember there were times early on in my divorce where I was like feeling so distraught that I felt, and alone, that I felt like I had nobody to turn to, but that just isn't the case. And it wasn't the case, but it was almost like I needed a checklist, an emergency checklist of who do I turn to when I feel like this. So yeah, like for some reason, I don't know what it is, but lots of us just are not very good at asking for help. Like we're quite good at giving help and supporting other people and all that stuff, but not always as good as accepting it ourselves, if that makes sense. And yeah, there's just no badge. There's nobody who's going to come along and be like, oh, well done, you did all of that on your own. I reckon it's probably a bit of a hang up from school days where it was like, you're not allowed to work together. You're not allowed to copy. You're not allowed to, I don't know, you are allowed to ask for help, but just that vibe of like, oh, if you did it on your own, then wow, what a great student you are. And that just does not work in life. We are meant to work as a bit of a pack and a bit of a team. And the whole village raises a kid malarkey, like never a truer word was spoken until you start becoming, you know, a single parent or a co-parent. Like, yeah. But we're not taught how to receive help, really. We're not taught how to, I don't know, it's like a pride thing, isn't it? Like, I need help, but I don't know who to turn to, and I don't know how to receive the help in return. And I think it's similar to, I remember a cousin of mine saying to me that she was feeling uncomfortable about her wedding. Like she didn't want everyone to make a big fuss, and I'm like, oh, it's your wedding. Like we want the big fuss, like you're meant to want the big fuss. But I get it. It's like when you have your birthday, it kind of feels uncomfortable when all of a sudden everyone's eyes are on you. But I just said to her, like, imagine it's just everyone giving you love. Like, this is their opportunity to go, we see you, we celebrate you, this is awesome, and we love you. So your job in that circumstance is to receive the love. So can you do the same thing with help? Can you allow the people in your life to say, I see you and I love you and I want to support you? Because when you go through a hard time, whether it's grief, the breakdown of a relationship, even fucking moving house, like people will say, can I help? And I think our job is to go, yes, yes, please. Yes, you can help. And some of the things are like more obvious than others, like having childcare, for example. That's quite an easy one to be able to go, yeah, can you have my kid for a couple of hours so that I can meditate or stare at a window or have a nap, you know, that kind of thing. So yes, who's in your support network, and who can you turn to at the times when you feel completely alone? They don't necessarily need to do anything, but to be able to just hold space for you feeling like that. And I've got, you know, quite a few people like that at the moment. I'm going to talk about one of them in a moment because she's also an online support. But yeah, like, and these people can be paid as well, right? They don't have to be just free help if you've got the resources. A big thing for me when I first moved out of the family home was having a bit of cleaning support, because it made me feel held that somebody else was doing something for me. Because everything else is like, oh, can you look after my kids so I can go to work or go to the gym? But, you know, how about so I don't have to come home and hoover? That's lovely. That's a lovely bit of help to have. Not having to stick your hand down the shower plug hole, for example. Yeah, receive that kind of help. And obviously things like therapy and family members who can support you. Because I think it's a really important part of the healing process is knowing who you can turn to. But one of the other things I wanted to tell you about that I've really leaned on over the last few years, and it's an online course. Like, there's something, I just love an online course. Like, when I know that someone's going to try and sell one, I'm like, I better not go to that free seminar or something, because I'll definitely buy it. Like, I am a sucker. I just love it. But I don't know, there's just something really comforting to me about learning. Maybe it's just the way that I'm set up, that it feels like if I don't know what else I'm going to do with myself, I'm feeling a bit lost, I'll put on an online course and do a bit of a workshop or something. It's like, don't worry, just do this. And there's so many different ones as well these days. It's absolutely ridiculous, the different kind of workshops you can do. I've got one on branding, I've got one on yoga, I've got one just on all sorts of different subjects. So some of the ones that I absolutely love. So firstly, I've got Claire Venus, because she's been a huge support to me in person and via voice notes. Like, I've left her a 7-minute special yesterday, so that was nice for her. But she's also a prolific creative workshop host. So if you're looking to do like something more with your business, or like with your side hustle, or anything in between, like any passion projects, she is like the queen of Substack. And her workshops are so comforting. Like, her energy is just really warm and friendly and practical. So you go in and you're like, okay, I'm going to do something on my about page. So I'll go and do that workshop. And by the end of it, I've got something that I can feel proud of, and like I've achieved something. So that in itself is like an energy shift. I'll go in being like, I don't know what to do next. And then I'll do something of hers and be like, okay, I've done that. And that feels productive and lovely, and a bit of time out, I guess, as well. So highly recommend looking up Claire. She's local to me, and we're actually off to London tomorrow because she bought me tickets to go see something in London. So that's nice. But you can find her on Substack. Her kind of Substack creator course is called Sparkle on Substack. And then she has stuff that's specifically for creative businesses called Creatively Conscious. So I'll hook you up in the show notes with those. And then the next thing I want to tell you about is a course that's starting next week. It's the 27th of February anyway. And she sent an email last week, because I did this course last year with Claire Venus. She was like, hey Hannah, I'm doing this course, do you want to do it too? And I didn't really know much about it, but I thought it'd be fun to do a course with Claire. And it's called Art of Alchemy with Kat River. So I don't really know where to start, because this course, like, we did it over the summer and it just completely blew my mind, but it also gave me something really beautiful to do each week. It was like, it's basically like a call, which she's in Australia and she hosts it at 10 a.m, but I would just wake up in the morning and then watch it either that day or the next day, just when I had a chance, because I think the kids were off at that time as well. Claire and I did it together, and it was just such a gorgeous thing to do, because it's all about creating your business, but from the perspective of being a mother who wants to nourish her family, but also make money and be creative. So it's like all of these magical things all smushed in together over kind of a 10-week course, 12-week course, I think it is. And it just, it kept my summer going, because I knew every week I had a new one of these calls. There were so many aha moments that Claire and I would be like voice noting each other for days afterwards, being like, oh yeah, and another thing, this and this. She covers so many different topics. I didn't know that this much stuff would come out of this course. but just understanding things like everything from your human design, and the way that you're actually meant to work and show up in your business, to actually how to use social media in a way that feels nourishing and soulful, which again, that really transformed a lot of things for me and how I could show up online in a way that felt healthy. Because you know what social media can be like, it can really sap your energy. But just the way that she uses mindset work and kind of just challenging your paradigms, so like your belief systems, honestly transformational. So yeah, there was a class around money mindsets. I've done a lot of work on money mindset over the years, but I've never heard it taught like this. That one was incredible. She also did something, oh my God, I forgot about this. So when I was trying to finish my book off, I had this whole thing around how to do it, because I was really scared that I was going to say the wrong thing or not say enough. I'm just going to grab my book so you can see it. But so How to Divorce Sober. There was a whole session on connecting with, like, basically going into ceremony and meditation with the creative energy behind your ideas, so the thing that you're working with, and having a conversation with it to say, like, what is it you need me to do? What am I meant to do? And the act of doing that helped me finish my book, because I discovered, and I'll show you, if for people on the video, it's a picture of a woman sat with a knocked over bottle of wine with her head in her hands looking really sad. And that is a picture, like a cartoon taken from a picture of me about 8 years ago. And I discovered through the process of this course that this book is written for her. So that was the muse of this creative project. And everybody's been doing it actually recently, saying I met my younger self for coffee, but that's exactly what I did to finish off my book. And I would never have known to do that if I hadn't taken this course. So I basically sat with my younger self and I'm like, please tell me what I need to do to finish this off, to get it out the door, and to make sure that I say all the things that you need to hear from me, instead of fixating on this fear of something that might not even happen, which, FYI, touch wood, it hasn't. So yeah, totally, absolutely love this course. It's about business, but from like this mother, family-centric point of view, and I highly recommend it. I'll put a link to the course in my show notes, and that actually gives you 10% off the ticket price. So if you click that link, you'll get 10% off when you go through. And there's loads of like different options to pay in 4 loads or over 10 like in 4 months or over 10 months. I can't remember, but there's payment plans. That's the word I'm looking for. There are payment plans if you want to do it. And full disclosure, I do get a commission if you sign up for that. But if you do, I highly recommend it. Let me know, because I'm considering doing it again, and we could voice note each other like Claire and I did. Okay, the next person I wanted to tell you about is Leonie Dawson. And she's like one of the first courses I ever bought I'd say about 5 years ago. And the reason I went on to do one of her courses was because I was struggling with my money mindset and how to kind of stand up for what I deserved in court from a money point of view. So I was like, I don't even know where to start with this stuff. But she had a course called Money, Manifesting and Multiple Streams of Income. So part of the money thing is like, right, I need to start earning my own money, but I also need to stand up for what I deserve from my marriage, because that was, a partnership. And yeah, I just found that course really helpful for kind of understanding, I guess, the energetics of money. and where I stood. I mean, it's a tricky one because I don't really feel like people are really talking about this online in terms of, I guess, working with pots of money that come from a marriage and understanding like who deserves what. Like there's a legal version of who deserves what, but everybody knows that when you're actually in a relationship, that doesn't necessarily translate back, and you can still have lots of different layers of who deserves what from the relationship because of what you put into it and all that kind of stuff. And when you're going through a divorce, a lot of mud gets slinged, let's just say. So you have to do a lot of inner work to make yourself feel strong enough to stand up for what you deserve, basically, and make sure you're looking after your future self. So the book was sort of serving my past self, but I also had to think about my future self and my kids and all that kind of stuff. So doing that course really helped me with that. But since then, I've basically done all the other courses that she does. So a lot of her work, again, it's quite business oriented, but I honestly think that just like she is literally the epitome of turning up as you are. Exactly as you are. Like she will put stuff up where she's made a boo-boo and, you know, she could have edited it, but she just puts it up because why the hell not? She's neurodivergent, so I find that very helpful to kind of see how she comes at the world and has continued to like make loads and loads of money and just exactly as she is. Swears like a trooper, very Aussie, and I just love that energy and being around that energy. So even if you don't have your own business or you're not, I don't know, wanting to write a book next week, there are courses there that are definitely going to be of interest to you. And just the way that she delivers them is so refreshing and like a gorgeous energy to be around. So yeah, love it. I ended up joining her it's called Brilliant Biz and Life Academy, and it basically gives you all of her courses. Like I was looking at it, so you get over £3,000 worth of $3,000 worth of courses for $500. I'm like, why would you not do that? So I've been a part of that for a couple of years, and yeah, the course that I've just done is worth like $300. So yeah, it's worth it, I think, anyway. So again, I'll put links in the show notes if you fancy giving her a little look. And like yesterday, I was like, oh God, I don't know what to do next. And I ended up just doing one of her workshops. And then I was like, oh, I feel better now. I've done something useful. But the other big love of mine, again, an online person who I do know in person and I do know like personally as well, is my yoga teacher Jambo Dragon. So he's got a huge array of workshops online. They're accessible for everyone because, you know, we've all got a soul and a heart and a spirit, and that's where he resides. So it's kind of learning yoga, meditation stuff, and then other courses around spirituality and getting your inner shit together. And it's beautiful. So I try to do the yoga every Monday, which he runs basically from wherever he is in the world. The other day he was running one of his workshops from my little studio in the front, and I just love him. So yeah, I guess like I love watching like a box set and all that kind of stuff, but there's some certain times when I just don't want to be triggered. Like there's just stuff, like I started watching this My Fault London yesterday because I was a bit at a loose end. I was like, I'm not feeling very well, so I'm going to just watch a bit of telly and have a cup of tea. Started watching that, and it was immediately like the main guy is a douchebag who's treating her like shit. And I'm like, I can't be asked to watch another thing where the main guy's an asshole but gets the girl. And I'm sure it all twists and turns and he's not as much as an arsehole and he's got a wonderful backstory or whatever it is. But I was like, this is not what my soul needs today. So instead I'm going to do one of my online courses and do something like that instead, where I'm feeling creative and I'm making something. So that is where this is my version of a support network, is how many Australians can I turn to when I'm feeling a bit shit. And turns out there's tons of them and they'll all sell you an online course. So I hope that's been helpful. But yeah, I do love it. And if you would like to join my online stuff, then all of that will be available next week. But you can go to hannahharvey.uk and get more of the details there. Or you can read my book. That would be a nice little support network as well. I have got a cold, so apologies for the odd cough. But yeah, let me know how you got on. What's happening? Tell me about your Newcastle tips. Tell me about your Valentines. Tell me how you got on with the Love Notes resets. Love to hear all of that. And if you've got any questions or things that you'd like me to talk about in Happily Ever After, then drop me a note with that as well. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. All the details you need are in the show notes, so be sure to check those out. If you're enjoying the podcast, please do hit the subscribe button and leave a review. It really helps more people find the show. And if you know someone who'd love these stories, feel free to share it with them too. As you know, I love hearing from you, so please do reach out on Instagram at hannahharveyuk or through my website hannahharvey.uk.